You boys know what's about to happen to you. You'd leave now.
Some consider these traits to be toxic, such as undesirable in the men of today. We consider these traits such as these not only to be desirable, but to be appreciated and celebrated. Welcome to the Toxic Male Appreciation Show, hosted by and La Reina Creole. Welcome to the safe space for the toxic male.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Lorena Creole, and with me is of positive fandom. And this, of course, is the Toxic Male Appreciation Podcast, where we appreciate you toxic males out there, the ones that Hollywood basically says, how dare you tap into those traditional masculine values. So we're taking that term and we turn it on its head here to celebrate all of you toxic males out there. So in this video, a little bit shorter one than usual, but nevertheless still very quite important. So apparently, the latest Oscar buzz, of course, the Oscar nominations came out recently, and Ryan Gosling got nominated for, I believe, Best Supporting Actor in the Barbie film. Now, I'm going to ask you, what were your thoughts when you heard about Ryan Gosling's nomination?
I wasn't surprised he was nominated. And, I think that his comment where he says he's disappointed about Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, and I guess anybody who didn't get nominated in the film would be normal. I think a lot of people in the film would say that about their their co-workers in the film and other things about it. So I was not surprised he was nominated. His song, I'm Just Ken, I think went to #1 in certain number of countries, maybe the UK. It really struck a lot of nerves in people, and I think that the dynamic that he had with Barbie gave it a little bit more substance because it wouldn't be the same movie if it was just Barbie alone. And she's always had Ken by her side, and you need someone to play this role. He was great in it. And of course, I loved seeing him in the clothes that I would put a guy in, which is the beginning of the film. And then of course, when he switches into later on in the end of the film, is stuff that men actually wear. So it's kind of like it's a secret fantasy of mine. I would love to, like, the whole beach thing where the guys are at the beach and they are all like in coordinated clothes, and you've got, kind of, it's the truth, Asian Barbie, you have all the different ethnicities of the Barbies, including the Kens, and
Mm-hmm.
it's total fantasy. Yes, I want to go to that party. I want to do that every Saturday. I want to walk a few blocks down to the beach here. It's cold, but I don't care. And see the same scene where she's walking on the beach and it's like, hey, Ken. Yes. So I think when it comes to fantasy fulfilling what I think Ken is like, which I don't think has ever been explored before, really in such depth, I think that this role was interesting. And then they added this dynamic of him being enough, as if he was worthy of love, and he doesn't get the love that he deserves in the film. So I think it was a great performance and he deserves it. So that's how I felt when I heard he was nominated. I didn't have, I love this film, Lorena, so I didn't have a reaction that I guess other people are having about, because the film obviously is has so many feminist uh messages in it. I was not surprised he was nominated for this. He was great in this. Imagine how hard it is to stand out against Margot Robbie and all those other incredible female actresses, and he stands out. And I think the guy from Shang-Chi also stood out too. But
Simu Liu.
yeah, he was good in this,
Yeah,
and he was
I agree.
He was like, "Can you do this, Ken?" And it's like, no, he can't do like a back layout triple flip, whatever it is you did. No, he can't do that. But I think that as far as toxic male, he might be the toxic male representation in the film that I found most satisfying. I loved when he was like, "Screw it, it's our kingdom. You guys can go, find your own place. Put your stuff in a box to the left, Barbie." Like.
And that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, where he's throwing her stuff out and just and it's not that he's throwing it out. It's these specific outfits that he's throwing out, that every time he throws one out and they put up there what it was and what year, it's like, oh my gosh, it felt like you get stabbed. And then Margot Robbie's Barbie is on the floor, just like, oh my God, why are you doing this to me? That scene right there, I'm gonna say, is pretty much cemented in my mind how good Ryan Gosling was in this film. Because like you, that's exactly what I would picture Ken to be, that toxicity. Granted, this is just me. I had Ken dolls of every single freaking ethnicity that I could get my hands on. Anytime there was a new one, I'm getting told, no, you can't have that one. You just bought one. You just got one,
We need
whenever. But we need it because I had, okay, maybe not the Mondo, Dojo Casa, whatever, but I had, this was the thing to get. The
yes.
Barbie dream house, not the townhouse, the plastic dream house with the pool in the back, and you open it up and that was it. And it couldn't be just you. You had to have all your friends. You had to have all your boyfriends. You had to have all your friends' boyfriends. That was there. And it was this big, huge thing. Everybody was there. Which Ken do you like best? I don't know. Okay, let's put him in this outfit. Oh, he looks so handsome in this outfit. Okay. So what would you pretend to say if he came to your party? So there were, I'm sorry if some of you guys think that this didn't happen, but it was true for a lot of girls. That's how they started to learn in their minds about relationships between men and women in their particular minds. So the relationship was always there. Girls, yes, a lot of relationship-based role play. For boys, it's a lot of it is action and goal-oriented role play. I know. I babysit a lot of boys. I have tons of nephews. I know what that's like, okay? Okay, I buy all the tactical vests, the Nerf guns, all of that stuff. But for girls, a lot of it is relational. So Ken wasn't just an object. Ken was someone that we would interact with, in our minds, which is why for me it is hard for him to stand up, because there are a lot of Kens. And like you were saying with Simu Liu, which he's much better at comedy because that's his thing.
Yeah.
Much better at it. And the competition, between the Kens, it was great seeing Ryan Gosling stand out everywhere, from the, hey, Barbie, what do you want to do? Okay, to, you know what? We're throwing all your stuff out. Forget this, female dominated, whatever. I've had a taste of the patriarchy, and damn it, this is how it's going to be from now freaking on. And it was funny. And for some people, yes, I mean, for myself, for the Barbie movie, I always say the first 3 acts I was actually okay for, and then the last one, the wheels kind of fell off the bus in a major way. But for people who are talking about, oh, well, it's a feminist movie. Well, let's put it this way. Barbie was a first wave feminist icon. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
First wave. I can do anything. If I want to stay home and raise kids, that's fine. If I want to be president of the United States, that's fine. If I want to be a construction worker, that's fine. If I want to be that's fine.
Everything.
If I want to be an airplane pilot, that's fine too. If I want to be a stewardess, that's fine too. Yes, I had the Barbie airplane too. Shoot. I had that set too. And the Corvette. And and the corporate. I didn't have the SUV though. I'm kind of mad. I didn't get the SUV that came out recently. But the thing is, with this film, it went into that third wave feminism that I felt, which is the part that I didn't like, where men are to blame for all of women's problems. Men are to blame for the fact that women cannot get ahead. And that's the part that I didn't like. And I think there's part of that when it comes to all the kerfuffle that's been going on about this, about this nomination. I would think that the Academy thought enough of Ryan Gosling's performance to not only nominate him, but you also give visibility to the film that he was in as well. So I find it very interesting, and I want to get your take on this, of course, is that for this film that's supposed to be, I'll say, for lack of a better term, feminist manifesto, because that's pretty much what Greta Gerwig and a lot of the others have said. Said that it is. Why are people hating on the fact that Ryan Gosling got nominated? I would think that you would be happy that someone in your film, an excellent actor, gets your film on the radar of the Academy. I'm a little confused, so I'm looking for you to kind of help me out here.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this question. And the answer is that for a good portion of the movie, quite a few of the roles, or at least scenes that we saw Barbie in were kind of like comedy. It was comedy. Like
Mm,
beginning where she wakes up the second day and she slips and falls, and she has these little bits of trips and things, and as I said, for me, when I saw this movie, and I still agree with this, a good portion of the movie is satire. You talked about the third act where it's not the same tone of the film. It's a different tone. So
mhm,
that alone, that whole part is, it's not the fantasy of Barbie anymore. That segment of the film is more of kind of like a real life woman. So we're no longer talking about the fantasy of Barbie. But if we're looking at very specific parts of the film, much of it is very cliche. So, you're meant to laugh at Barbie running around the boardroom, and, the corporate people are like, "Oh, let she
put her in
knows
a
the truth."
box
Yeah, yeah.
with
You're
the
meant to laugh at
ties.
that. It's supposed to be funny, it's we're supposed to be kind of having a laugh at a lot of this. But then they
Mhm,
kind of stop the humor with the seriousness at the end. And so very few films do that. Like it's usually when films do that, it's actually a film that's a very dour film and it's a sad message. It's not a happy
mm,
film. You've given the illusion that there's happiness and fun going on in the beginning of the film. And certainly there's nothing wrong with that. But then this whole satire comes into play where at the end you find out, oh, wait a minute, this film really isn't about the comedy and the funny stuff. This film is actually meant to tell you a serious message. And we hear the message, like we got the message. They wanted to promote whatever they want,
right.
and they did, like they successfully did that. You knew as soon as the serious message came on that this film really was not necessarily about us having a laugh and watching the cool outfits. Although maybe for you and I, it was certainly enjoyable to see the cool outfits and the recreation. Lorena, another one that I really liked, I'm kind of digressing, was when he got hurt and they had the doctor and it was like the fold out doctor, office. And I'm like, he got that so right. Like all of those things, like her medical center, and she's a doctor, and she has patients. I think that what it did was that the first part of the film fulfilled fantasy for many people. And then like by the end of the film, it's kind of like you almost don't even care what comes after that because they've hit all the marks of what we want. And it's like, there might not be anything else to be said about Barbie, truth be told, Lorena. And that's okay.
Mm,
Like Barbie isn't the social compass of the world. She's a toy that we play with and love and culturally has significance. Now, it was a bold attempt for Greta to try and tie that into a modern woman. Like what would Barbie be if she actually came alive and came into the real world? That's what
right.
the film is about. But for me, I'm like, a lot of the comedy and a lot of the fun things that happen in it, like where Greta went into musical musical theater and said she's going to incorporate musical theater into the dance routine. And I'm like, we're getting a dance routine with Barbie? Like all these sort of unexpected things, but we were expecting to see fantastic production design, and we got that. What we didn't know we were going to get, what we didn't know, so we're not surprised we heard a crazy feminine message. Like
No.
even if we saw, a bunch of girls on college campus saying men are this and we don't like if we saw that, we wouldn't be shocked. That's a feminist move, right? So we wouldn't. It's not too shocking to see that after such a satire of life is so great, life is so wonderful. Oops, I slipped. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm not wearing shoes. Like this goofiness, this playfulness. We know that's not real life. But Ken was actually in the beginning when he plays, he's the most realistic character of all of them because he was always this person. He was always this person. He was catering to Barbie all along. And so I believe that in this story, what we're seeing, and I've said this before, that Barbie isn't very nice to Ken. Not because she isn't in love with him, but because she kind of like led him on in the beginning with these comments that are, not realistic. He comes over, she's like, no, we're having a party tonight, you can't stay. And I'm like, do you tell your boyfriend that? Even if you guys aren't having an intimate relationship, which a lot of people have suggested in the beginning of the film, that wasn't the case. Even if you're not, that's not what you do to somebody you're kind of close to and wants to be with you. If you don't want to be with him, tell him. So at that point, when she finally says it, that's when it was kind of like, you've been holding this back all this time and you didn't say shit. Lorena, that was wrong. She should have told him that from day one. And she could have, still enjoyed her life in Barbie land and stuff, let's say theoretically. But I think it's interesting that Ken is like, you know what? I'm a nice guy and I deserve love and I'm better than that. And I think that's why he was nominated for it, because it oftentimes people do different things in their life, but it's tough after a breakup like this for you to behave like a gentleman. Yes, he did throw her stuff out of the window. Yes, he did do that.
Yeah, that was a cops moment right there.
But I think that was like maybe an impulsive thing. I don't think he really cared whether her clothes were in there. He knew he could do it and get away with it. But remember, he did all this stuff when she left. He didn't do it to her face. And so I think that speaks volumes, because maybe he needed to separate himself just a little bit from her, and kind of like blossom into this incredibly charming man that he is. And he is enough. He's a brilliant person. So are all the other Kens. They're nice guys. Yeah, maybe they did something that the ladies didn't care for, but they're not mean. They are not. I think that this particular fantasy that Barbie had created had to include men, because it's very lonely life not having men around, and it is very fulfilling to have them. But he added something that made the character seem very realistic and true, maybe the most realistic and least cliche character. Even the point where he says, what's that? Is that a Jeep? I think I have to have one. Even where we hear a lot of lines drop like that, you can't help but admit that we like those things about men. So I think that that's very interesting. Do men like certain things, or things that women, are their behaviors? I have no idea. But what I can say, as a woman watching this film and seeing a man like this, I like this guy. Yeah, I want to date this guy. This is the kind of guy I'd want to go out with. And even if he does have different tastes, and he won't wear clothes that I want him to wear, even if we can't go and have parties on the beach, Lorena, I think he's worth it. And who knows? People were saying that they would have liked to have seen Ken hook up with Barbie at the end, but I don't think she's nice to him. And I don't want to see it, because I think he deserves somebody who should have been honest with him from the beginning instead of leading him on. That's how I felt about Barbie. And it is something to think about. I don't think that she was painted in the nicest light in the way she behaved all the time. And I think to look at it from that context of, well, that's not right what she did, and that's also not right. Something to think about when we're kind of, not you and I, but like when people cheer on certain behaviors and we see those behaviors are wrong, and it's like it was put in the movie for a reason for you to see those behaviors were wrong. So that's kind of something that I thought was interesting. And yeah, the end part kind of spoiled the fantasy, didn't it? You and I were riding the high. We were riding high. This is great. Oh,
yeah, I was just kind of like, seriously?
Yeah, we were
And
riding such a
that's
wonderful high.
yeah, and that was just me. I'm just like, seriously, so you're gonna go back to that particular world full of the quote unquote patriarchy and all of that. Okay. So that kind of like crashed it for me for that part.
Mm,
But with Ken,
yes.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
No, no.
get
Oh,
get
the
thought
other thing too is I also think that's why why can't I remember this girl's name?
America
Why
Ferrara.
Yeah, why she didn't get nominated for her soliloquy because it's very cliche. Like we already know this whole thing about women have to just be honest and say that we have to do a whole bunch of shit. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, we get criticized for every little thing. But in actuality, I think even with the criticism, um, we still have to look at it from the point of view of, well, guess what? If we don't do this, no one might do it, and that's our responsibility. We just do it. We just do it. And I think men have that same thing too. So I don't think it's just directed at women. You could take that same speech and have Ken
Mm-hmm.
say it, and it'll mean the same thing, Lorena.
And that's the balance that was missing out of this. Like, I'll admit, I was one of those people who was like, yes, Ken and Barbie needed to eventually end up together. However, Ken and Barbie needed to both have that interest, that introspective moment. If you want me to be with you, you can't treat me like crap. Okay, so if I want to be with you, I need to not dismiss you. I felt that there was that meeting of the minds that didn't happen, and that just kind of sucked it out. Not the, well, you need to be your own person, which is what we have seen happen in this. And honestly, Ken did not start to get interesting until he did have that taste of the patriarchy and stuff shifted, because that was more realistic
Yeah.
of the men that you wanted to see. And to bring it back, yes, that's why he got nominated for this, because of his performance. Not that Margot Robbie's performance wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. But the Oscars are about what stands out to this very insular group of people who, when the rest of the world wants Skittles, they want butterscotch candies. It's how it is. Okay, that's the best way that I can explain it to you. Something has to get on their radar enough to, hey, it's Skittles flavored, but hey, I'd like to pay attention to it, and that's the case here. So I really don't think that while it's expected for Ryan to say, hey, we're packaged, you know everyone needs to get recognized. The fact is, and Ryan, you definitely know this as someone who's worked in Hollywood for so long, that that's not how it works. I mean, it's definitely nice giving props to your castmates, which is great, which you should. That's their support. But the fact of the matter is, your performance stood out. You did your job. Went over and beyond doing your job. So I think it's very unfair of people trying to paint the film as being wrong, like somehow it's the film's fault. Okay, well, yeah, it is that he got nominated because his performance was so good. But it's not that because Ryan Gosling gets nominated for an Oscar, that somehow says that that's something wrong about our society. I mean, if anything, it would seem to me that it's definitely a feather in Greta's cap that she got this guy casted.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's a perfect actor for this role. I actually am hoping they make a doll that looks exactly like him. So I can
The
buy it.
one with the fur.
Yes.
I want that one with the fur coat and
Yes.
and the pull-up bar. The pull-up
Yeah.
bar has to come with it, though.
Agreed. And this is, I think that like I said, he sang the song, I'm Just Ken, and that charted. I don't know if it's Billboard anymore. I don't know which company it is now, but it charted in
I think it's
the
Billboard.
UK, and
Hmm.
it did very well. And I think it struck a nerve with a lot of people because they first of all, I have to give Greta Gerwig kudos for that, because she didn't have to put that in there, but she
No.
wanted to put that in there for a reason. Think about it. She focused a lot of attention on the treatment that he got and how his character developed. And I think that also says a lot. going forward. But there are so many elements in the film that, like, I truly believe that this is it's like an art film in a sense, because of the incredible production design at the beginning, and then bam, it's a different film, like, whatever it is, an hour and 25 minutes in, it's totally different. And I'm like, that's not typical of most films. This is something, done very deliberate. So you're not wondering about it. Nobody is wondering what she's saying at the end. We know what she's saying. But I think the other thing too that I noticed was that she put in some things that clearly, women like and men like, and made fun of it. And, I think sometimes, pictures do that. Like, I never guessed that she would have put in Pride and Prejudice, that particular one with Colin Firth and Elizabeth Eel,
Yeah.
that was on A&E, in the 90s, and someone was actually watching it in the film, and I said, "Oh my God, I actually own that DVD. It's in my living room."
I
And
love that.
I have watched it so many times. So, she was dogging us. She's like, "This is what you guys want. You want, for a man who has a fortune must be in one of a wife. Yeah, we want that fantasy, but we know it's not real." So she's even digging us for that. One of the most popular movie series, Jane Austen book series, she's dogging us for liking that. I kind of felt like she wanted to she took a lot of different things that are popular right now, that are trending right now, and put them in the film. And she couldn't exclude any point of view. So she wanted to put a lot of that and also make it feminist. So it wasn't easy to put those concepts in there. I hope he wins. I hope Ryan wins this. I hope he walks up there, and I hope they play "I'm Just Ken," da da da, like, as he walks up there, or he sings it. He sang the song. I hope he wins for
Yeah.
song. Well, he might not win against Peaches, the Peaches love song, but
Oh, that did not get nominated, but that's going to be a topic for another time.
oh
Yes.
my God, I love
And I
that
think I know why it did not
Peaches.
get
I love
nominated.
you. I
I
love
love you,
you.
peaches, peaches, peaches. Oh God, I think that's like the best earworm freaking like ever. But I do hope that Ryan Gosling gets to perform that song at the Oscars.
Yes. Oh my God.
Uh that'd be great. He's up against tough competition because Robert Downey Jr. is also nominated as
Mhm.
Best Supporting Actor. So that's I I can't pick between the two of them. But what I will say is that, folks, there's a lot for Ryan to be proud of here. There's a lot for Greta to be proud of here. And you know what? Take that win, whether it's an inch or a mile. Yes, I am quoting Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious. It's still a win. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I was going to say something else that I can't. Oh, this we're not going to see another film like Barbie in a long time. And if they want to
mhm.
go ahead and throw an award and say this is a very unique, innovative film that has had a profound effect on on the culture of the country, or whatever they want to say, go ahead and throw an award that way. There's no reason why the Academy can't kind of like recognize certain films and say, yeah, this was very different. This film was very different. We can't really categorize it, but we're giving it an award because we feel that it has had an impact. It's had a huge impact on what
Oh
people are
yeah.
seeing and doing. And 20 years from now, people will look at this film, have very different opinions about it. I think talk about Barbie isn't ever really going to stop. And people will be
Yeah.
making videos on YouTube, all different degrees of approval or disapproval of this. It's far from over, I think. And God, I hope he wins it. I hope Brian gets it.
I hope he does. I hope he does. Well, folks, this is another episode of Toxic Male Appreciation in the Can.
Mhm.
Let us know in the comments what's your thoughts about this. Is this kerfuffle much to do about about nothing? Do you
Mhm.
hope Ryan Gosling wins, or is it just nah, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be my guy? But either way, we thank you for watching. We so appreciate your feedback. Please make sure that you are subscribed to Her of Positive Fandom.
Mhm.
Make sure that you are subscribed to me,
Yeah.
and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.